Welcome back, and today we're talking about Talentless Nana episode 2. So like always, let's just jump into it. Episode 2 of Talentless Nana, I was really waiting for it because after the cliffhanger that we got last episode where I thought the main character Nana was murdered. I could not believe it, right? The main character dying in the first episode, definitely not the main character. So yeah, this episode kind of confirms that Nana is indeed dead. He's not coming back. And our main character would seem to be Nana. And that's great because I love animes where we get to see the villain and her way of thinking. And really, I just love a good villain. And so right now, I would say Nana is the main villain. Now, they kind of gave us an explanation of how the talented people came to be and why the government is putting all these students in an island, training them to fight the enemies of humanity. And I was right with my last video where I was kind of saying that, both sides are claiming that the other one is the enemy of humanity, right? We got the government thinking that all those kids that have talent, they're the enemies of humanity. And we got all the students in the classroom thinking that they're being trained to fight the enemies of humanity who seem to be monsters. And that's not the case, right? At the very beginning of the episode, we found out that there was an enemy of humanity that came in, destroyed a whole city, killed a lot of people, but he was not a monster. It was a human, right? It was a human that did this. Whenever those talents started manifesting on humans, complete chaos ensued. They were thinking that they were above the law. They were doing all this stuff, breaking laws, killing people. They were behaving like they were gods, right? They had all this power and nobody could stop it. It resulted in a huge war between the humans and the talented. The humans ended up winning this war. I'm pretty sure there was a lot of casualties. And that's when they set up the whole school system, right? Like humanity kind of started accepting the talented people. They kind of started, working together, and that's when the whole island and the whole school was created in order to train those students. Now we also see Nana is just getting her mission, and it looks to be a very official government issuing the order that Nana has to go in and start killing all these students just because they're the enemies of humanity, right? I think that the government believes the students, the talented people are still the enemies of humanity and they have to be taken out. So I like that whole explanation. And then once the episode starts off with the actual classroom, it's confirmed that Nanao is not coming in. So yeah, he's dead. He's 100% dead. And now we get to see that training in the lake where they had to go over the lake through the log, like kind of your regular military style training. And we see there's a student that cannot swim. Shibusawa, I believe is his name, and that's the next target, right? We found out this character has the ability to go back in time and change events. That's an OP power. I can see why Nana switched over from the ice guy, because yes, the ice guy, I forgot his name, even though his power is very strong. He defies the law of physics when he froze that lake. It does not compare to the ability to go back in time and change it. It does not compare, right? Like time manipulation, OP power. So Nana starts focusing on Shibusawa to get him out of the picture, right? And notice how when she looked on the phone, she has a profile of every student and the amount of casualties that could potentially happen if one of these students decides to go rogue. They're very powerful. And I believe for Shibusawa, it was 800,000 people that could die if he decided to use his powers for evil. And we got to see the thinking and mentality behind the government, right? Why they want to destroy these kids. Essentially, they believe since they're kids and they have all this power, their ego is going to get too big to the point where they're not going to be able to be controlled, and they essentially will become the enemies of humanity. And to some extent, I agree with that, but I definitely do not agree with how Nana and the government decided to take care of business, right? Because at the end of the day, all these students, they're being judged without committing a crime. A sentence of death has been passed, and they have not committed a crime yet. So that's definitely messed up. That's why Nana is 100% the villain of the story. But I love it. I honestly do love the fact that we got the villain and her perspective. I love Nana as a character. Now, the whole investigation regarding Nanao begins because Shibusawa is about to head back in time and start investigating. But I do want to talk about the other transfer student. I believe his name was Kiyoya. very weird, right? Whenever he was touching Nana's hair, that was kind of weird. He did it for a long time. It was kind of cringy as well, but it was kind of funny. And we see that Nana uses her mind reading abilities to kind of blame Kyoya, saying that he could be the enemy of humanity. Now, I will say, it doesn't look like Nana actually has a talent. Maybe she does, maybe she doesn't. But we know reading minds ain't one of them, right? All she's doing is actually reading people's behavior, and that's how she's able to guess all these different things, right? Now, the big moment, of course, is the whole investigation, because when you're dealing with somebody that can go back in time, there's nothing you can do. And really, Nana kind of trusted her past self to take care of business. And I mean, it was just wonderful. The way Nana was able to kind of like deduce how Shibusawa can use his powers, going back in time, the limitations of it, right? She kind of knows that he cannot be seen, right? There has to be a limitation to his power. He comes back very tired. Every time he travels, he gets very tired because, I mean, again, traveling back in time. If you just have that power with no limitations, that would be OP. But she's able to think, analyze all the data that she's getting, and she comes up with a plan to actually get rid of Shibusawa. I mean, it was really awesome. The fact that the past Nana and both episodes kind of link up, right? Because last episode we see that Nana was able to sense that somebody was watching them, and this episode we learn what that person was. It was Shibusawa. So he didn't quite get to see Nana commit the act and murdering Nanao, but all suspicions were off, and that's when Nana put her plan into the test, right? Nana got Shibusawa late at night and told him that this is where Nanao died. It was an enemy of humanity. It was a monster. It was eating him. So, I mean, it was messed up. And I mean, the way she actually executed the plan was beautiful. She essentially got Shibusawa to go back in time where the lake was not frozen and he fell in, because it was frozen at night, so he was standing on a secure platform. So he thought that he was good to go back in time, but that specific spot was actually water. So once he go back in time, it was water. He fell down. He can't swim. He drowned. And later on, the perfect cover, the guy that can freeze the lake, boom, froze the lake. Amazing. I mean, Nana is definitely on a whole different level on how smart she is. And if it ends up being that she does not have a talent, that would just be even crazier, because she's killing all these talented people by just using her wits, and I absolutely love it. Love this episode. Honestly, I cannot wait to see more about this anime. The ending where we see Kyoya and Nana kind of walking past each other. I guess we know who the other, like the hero of the story is going to be. It's definitely Kyoya. He's definitely not going to drop the investigation anytime soon. I really am looking forward to this cat and mouse battle, because, I mean, it reminds me of Death Note with L and Light. Nana seems very smart. Kyoya seems very smart. The only problem is now we got superpowers in between. So what's going to happen? I cannot wait to get more of this anime. I absolutely am loving every single episode. I mean, what can I say? I love a good villain, and Nana brings that to this story. But like always, let me know what you thought of this episode. Go ahead, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next episode.